Hello everybody and welcome back to Space Engine. I know my other videos kind of eclipse what I do on this channel, but I still like to do these at least once a month because it's good, fun, unscripted content. And by fun I mean, well, it's something. Anyways, what am I going to do today? Well, I haven't had any really recommendations. Someone mentioned Trantor, like, they'd like to see it. And Trantor is a planet from Isaac Asimov writings, specifically the Foundation books. It was the capital of the Galactic Empire. It was originally supposed to be at the center of the galaxy, but then Asimov kind of retconned it to being near the center, but not in like the radiation death zone. So I suppose we can go look for planets around the galactic core and see if we can find Trantor. Um, but we'd have to find a planet that's completely encased in city, and I don't think Space Engine will do that. So it'll be something, which is always fun. What kind of stars do we have here to begin with? Blue main sequence, white main sequence, more blue, more white, more blue. Ooh, a yellow giant. Yeah, we're not gonna get much there. See here, galactic bulge. Let's kind of chill out over here. I might cough a few times. I'm not sick. That's just my lungs are doing what they do when it gets very dry, which is, well, this. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. Actually, it's been worse since I had COVID last year. I wonder if there's a connection, but whatever. It is what it is. Globulars, white sequence. Oh, I saw that. I saw that life, and I lost it. What a jip. Anyways, what to talk about? What to talk about? Well, the topic of the that's all the rage right now is North American airspace and things that keep on intruding into it, which is kind of a fun topic. It started out with that Chinese spy balloon, and now it's evolved into the US shot something down over Alaska, and then something of similar design was shot down over Canada, and it's like, okay, it's been an interesting week. But the Chinese spy balloon is actually really funny because it's kind of an example of, I guess you can call it like opportunism. Because, like, some of you may know, I'm a casual observer of geopolitics and I enjoy it as kind of a hobby. So nothing I say is really like, solid, take it at face value. It's almost just opinions and interpretations. But it's all very fun. And the Chinese spy balloon is a very funny example of that because everyone's made a really, really big deal about it, but it's not a new occurrence. Like, China has floated balloons like that over North America and other continents and other countries, like, quite frequently over the last 10 years. Like, they just kind of do it sometimes. In fact, when Trump was in office in the United States, 3 of those balloons flew over the United States and did what they did, and they weren't shot down because the Pentagon and U.S. intelligence didn't consider them a threat. And the same is actually true with this most recent Chinese spy balloon, because NORAD was tracking it when it came in over from the ocean and then hovered over Canada. Actually, it likely flew over where I was, which is interesting. And then it, made its way to Montana. And despite it floating over some ICBM sites in Montana, U.S. intelligence didn't consider it a threat. Like, it wasn't a strategic or espionage threat. It was more just like they knew it was there and they were watching it, but they didn't really care that much. And the reason for that is because there isn't much it could do that can't be done better. Like, for example, the ICBM sites in Montana or other parts of the United States, there isn't a country on this planet that has spy satellites that doesn't have incredibly high resolution images of all of those sites. Like, if you've seen some of the images that spy satellites, like really good ones, can get, you can get like meter to centimeter resolution with these satellites. So, suffice to say, China has very high resolution images of every single American military installation that isn't buried underground. So, the spy balloon hovering over the ICBMs, it wasn't that big of a deal because it's like, what's it gonna find? Like, honestly. So yeah, the Pentagon didn't really care that much. They were just keeping an eye on it. So, what was the difference between this balloon and the three others that floated over during the Trump administration, where they ignored it and did nothing? And the answer is internet fame. You see, this spy balloon had the unfortunate um, distinction of somebody seeing it, taking a picture of it, and posting it on social media. So it became popular. And when something becomes popular, it spreads around the internet. So everyone was looking at this balloon, and of course, it started people doing their usual complaining and using any opportunity to try to trash the opposition of their political ideologies, because that's just how humans are. We are a very territorial species. And it kind of devolved after that, because even when the U.S. intelligence like acknowledged the balloon, they straight up said it's not a threat. They're just tracking it, but it's not perceived as a threat, and they weren't gonna do anything about it. But then they suddenly changed their tune and were like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we were planning on shooting it down this entire time." Shifty eye, shifty eye. And you have to wonder, why is that? Ooh, look at this moon. It kind of reminds me of the moon Pandora around Saturn. It has a similar kind of get up to it. Anyways, so the question is, what changed? And it, again, this is just speculation based on what I know of geopolitics and how everything functions in that category. Because some backstory: China and the United States are never going to war. It's just not going to happen because it can't. And some people really get mad when that's pointed out because they really, really want to have that faceless enemy, like the United States had with the Soviet Union. And it's similar, but not quite. And the biggest reason for that is, look at your iPhone. Where was it made? It certainly wasn't made in the United States. And yeah, it wasn't made in anywhere else. Apple has all of their factories in China. And most large manufacturers, especially in the technology, outsource either labor or technology and imports to China because of regulations and stuff. It's actually quite scummy when you look into it. But point is, the people who would have the most to lose with a war with China is both the United States and China, because in the United States, tons of pretty much all of your imports and goods are made in China, because very few companies, especially the big ones, want to spend the extra money to produce things locally. They would rather save money and, overseas. So if the United States went to war with China, it would completely destroy America's supply lines of just commodities and manufacturing, because that's just how capitalism has structured it. And with China, if they went to war with the United States, again, their biggest trading partner, plus if they went to war with the United States, it would make everyone else mad. It would completely destroy most of their exports, like commercial, economic, even like energy exports. Like they export a lot of stuff, mainly coal, which is weird. So it's not happening. However, both sides don't want people to really let that sink in. It's like during the Cold War, yeah, America and the Soviet Union, their economies were fairly separate. So a war was possible because, you could go to war with each other without either side having their economies completely trashed. Whereas China and the United States are so interconnected that a war would be like cutting off limbs, and it would trash yourself. But they don't like that. They don't like that arrangement. So what they do is they openly talk about, or they openly bluster, lots of blustering. This happens all the time. So China will make threats that never amount to anything, and America will make threats that never amount to anything, because it's not quite just political theater, because there is some stakes behind it, but the stakes are very small. It's like China's never going to nuke the U.S. and the United States is never going to nuke China, because that would be suicide for either side. But little token, economic sanctions here and there, and a little display of force, or plucking at a topic they don't like, that happens all the time. It's basically like siblings fighting in the backseat of a car. So, this spy balloon is essentially just that. China's been doing this for a long time, and they're basically just. I don't know, it's like safe provocations, I guess, is a way to put it. Again, I don't know for sure. This isn't 100%. This is just kind of an interpretation based on how they act and how everyone acts. And it's just one of those stupid little provocations. And normally America ignores them because they're just stupid little provocations and they know it. However, this time the balloon became internet famous and, well, suddenly the White House was faced with this situation where it's like, oh no, people there's this balloon and it's being spun one way or the other. So it kind of went something probably like this, where, they were tracking the balloon for the longest time. Oh, there's just subglacial life. They were tracking this balloon for the longest time, like what, a week, and probably getting briefs on it every day, just what's it up to, and then it became popular and famous, and people started seeing it, and people started worrying about it. And then you had media starting to throw things back and forth, saying, why isn't Biden acting? Why isn't he shooting this down? It's a clear provocation. So Joe is probably sitting in his office, in the Oval Office, doing whatever he does, making paper airplanes or whatever, and somebody, walks in. And he's like, all right, the balloon has now become popular knowledge, and people are starting to complain. What do we do about this? And they think for a minute, and it's like, shoot it down, I guess. And it's like, no, it's just not worth it. But then somebody in the room kind of pipes up and goes, we can use this to our advantage. You see, people know the balloon is there, and they know that it's probably Chinese. China is a enemy, in air quotes. I mean, kind of, but still air quotes. And they would like the people to really hammer home that us versus them mentality, and we have to keep this geopolitical posturing going. And then Joe is probably like, I'm interested, keep going. So the man in the suit sits down in the chair and starts discussing options. And he's like, well, you see, if we really play up this balloon, we can use it as a way to casually discredit China, a bit of good old geopolitical poking, as they always do, and it might also give your reputation a bit of a boost if you shoot it down. So, thinking about it for a while, they're like, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. If we shoot it down, we can make a big show of it, we can use the new F-22 Raptors and our missiles, and do a bit of a military show that's completely harmless. However, don't want to shoot down over land, because it might land on somebody, and if if a piece of spy equipment lands on somebody's house, car, or themselves, it'll dampen the situation. So they're like, all right, fine, we'll wait till it floats over the ocean, because it always does. So they waited a couple days. It floated over the ocean out near North Carolina, and that's when they moved in, shot it down, and made a big deal about it. They even painted like one of the kill markers on the on the F-22 of the balloon. And it's like, ha ha ha! Look at that, we shot down the balloon. And interestingly enough, this was actually the first time the F-22 Raptor has actually shot something down that wasn't a test. So it's kind of embarrassing in its own little right. But so now this started happening, and then people in the Republican Party were saying he should have acted sooner, and then people, the Democrats, were like, yeah, but there were many other balloons and nobody ever shot them down. And now it's just become one side, this side, back and forth, over a balloon, a stupid balloon that isn't even a rare occurrence. So the balloon by itself isn't a threat, and the balloon by itself would have probably floated over the states and kept going, and nobody would have even known about it like the other balloons, but it got just a bit too low on a bit too clear of a day, and somebody got a picture of it and posted it on social media. So the balloon was shot down because it became internet famous, whereas the other balloons, nobody knew they were there. Like, there were three of them. From 2016 to 2020, three of them floated over the United States, gathering intel, and floated away from the United States. Never shot down. NORAD knew they were there. They were tracking them. Pentagon knew they were there. Just nobody cared. And it's really, really funny. So I found the whole balloon saga incredibly hilarious just because of what it represented. Which was essentially just, it was an opportunity for flexing. And it was itself probably a flex by China, kind of like saying, "Oh, look at that! We can get an object over your airspace, and you can't do anything about it." And then America went, "Oh, but we can." And it's become a, well, everything in the United States becomes a culture war thing now. Actually, that's always been the case. It's like when what was it? Obama got a hamburger and he didn't put mustard on it, and Fox News spent like a week talking about how Obama was evil because he wouldn't put mustard on his hamburger or something. So no matter how it went down, the balloon was going to cause problems because that's just how America's media works. It's all just problems. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's almost like the political landscape of the United States is everything has to be somebody else's fault. Everything has to be bad, and there's nothing nothing is small. It's like the harmless Chinese spy balloon that is just wasting its time becomes a big deal because they saw it as an opportunity to make it a big deal. And the whole thing became a bigger deal than it needed to be geopolitically because of social media, essentially. So it's really funny. Whereas the other two that were shot down are a bit, they're funny in a different way, because the first one over Alaska, they were like, we're not going to call it a balloon, but it is floating and it doesn't seem to be propelled by anything. It's about the size of a car and it's cylindrical in shape and it's gray silver. And it's like, okay, gonna need a bit more information on that one. And they shot down the one over Canada, and same thing. They were like, yeah, it was like this little cylinder the size of a car that was silver gray. And it's like, okay. Oh, that's not good. Maybe you guys should let us know what you were shooting down. I would like to know. Again, I don't have any information on those beyond just the simple descriptions that were released. And they almost sound like little aerostats, like basically like blimps made of mylar. That's my thought, is that they were just little mylar blimps. No idea who built them, who flew them, and what they do. Although I've been laughing because it's like, what if they were just somebody's science experiment and two of them got shot down, and it's like, oh no. Which would be sad for whoever owns them, but honestly, kind of funny. Like, my mother made the joke where it's like, hey, maybe the one the Americans shot down was my balloon that I lost in 2019. And it's like, if my weather balloon lived for 3 years, floated over Alaska, and got shot down by the Americans, I would actually love that. That would be hilarious. I'm sorry, but there is unicellular marine life on this planet. This planet has water. 31 degrees Celsius, so it's like a really hot, or it's like a hot summer's day. 115 atmospheres. My goodness. Carbon dioxide. Apparently has seas of water. Okay, we have to find the seas on this planet, because I'm just seeing sands. Unless these are clouds. No, that's rock. So where are these alleged seas? This isn't a sea. This is a sandy desert. It's like the Dune Sea in Tatooine. Maybe it's like Titan. There's just like a lake somewhere that I'm missing. Ah! Is that a mountain? That's a mountain. So yeah, that's my take on the balloon situation. But now I'm looking for oceans or seas on this planet. Because I do believe someone's lying to me. But I can't guarantee. Was that water? Okay, there was water being rendered under the ground, which means in low spots there could be water. Volcanoes. Volcanoes. Maybe it's something on the darker side. No, those are just rocks. Does this planet actually have a proper... Oh, no. Have a proper... No, I don't need those. Where's the speed? Wrong button. Where's speed? There we go. Let's see here. Does it actually rotate? It does rotate. Alright, we're going to look for these seas. I am not seeing seas. Also, I need to turn the labels off. Oh, for goodness sake. There we go. This is a mystery we have here. Because there's apparently seas on this planet. It doesn't say they're subterranean. And there is water rendered on this planet. So, somewhere in the lowlands, we're going to find water. But I could be wrong, but this does not strike me as being a sea. Huh. Well, that's a mystery. But this episode's now over. So, thank you all for watching and listening to me ramble on about balloons, but I just think it's really funny. It was a fun week. I don't know. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have topics for me to talk about, let me know, or places for me to go. I'll totally do it. So, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and space.